Welcome to Yep Yeah Yes with Marissa and Tamika. I am your co-host on this first day of August, Tamika. Did I already say I was Tamika?
Yes.
No, I said with Marissa and Tamika, but I didn't say that I was Tamika, correct?
Right.
The other
Okay, got it.
the other voice you heard or that you're watching or seeing is Marissa. Marissa, how are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Good, good. We had a nice meetup yesterday. Went to the beach, had lunch outside. I'm not ready to eat inside yet. How about you?
No, thank you.
It's I mean, I don't like to eat out inside when it's warm like this anyway, so it's like not a big deal. But I also don't want to be on top of people, although I know you like to be on top of people because you like to hear conversations,
Well,
which is
not right now.
evident in the fact that your daughter was overhearing a conversation, came back to report the information to you. She is so your daughter.
I couldn't be prouder.
So I was like, really? I'm looking at her like,
But she had the juice though. She was like,
yeah,
and they went.
she had the true detail.
She had details. That's the kind of stuff I appreciate in a conversation.
Right.
Um, oh, I love it. But no, I'm not. You know what I have to say? I'm a hugger. I like to eavesdrop on conversations, so I tend to stand close to people. Um, but I'm not a close talker. And I don't like to be close when we're like in line or something. But this,
You're a close talker with me. I'm
yeah.
always backing up for you, and you're like, what? I'm like,
I know,
I
I
don't
know.
like, I have a space thing. I just,
No, I get you. But it's like this whole thing since March. It's like I'm learning to deal with it. This is now my normal. I'm okay.
okay. Well, that's actually a good thing
Hmm.
because, because you end up,
With more peace.
well, and giving attention to people that deserve it. And during this time, the people that are actually checking in on you, you realize,
Yes.
okay, who's really, you know what I'm saying? And vice versa. You realize who
Yeah.
you want to check in on,
Yeah.
you know? I've been pretty good about when somebody comes in my mind that I haven't spoken to. Granted, I only have few friends, 3 friends or so. But I always like, hey, how's it going? You know, that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
But anyway, so today, speaking of Corona and COVID, you know, public health has been on the minds of everyone, from kids
Yeah.
to adults. So
Hmm.
our topic today is the politicalization of public health. So I mean, it's not so much that we're going to talk about, you know, our political views, but really I wanted to focus on how amazing it is that, amazing in a bad way, that public health has become like the political divide. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And to be honest, when I started thinking about it, I'm like, are we surprised? Because global warming was also the political divide. And at the end of the day, it always comes down to money. Money is always going to be the motivating factor in people's lives and decisions. But the problem that I have is that the I don't know. It's like one of those things where you, like, we all know, like, I would like to believe that most people want to be helpful towards their fellow man. Even
Yeah.
rapists and murderers love their mama, you know, or they
Some
have
of them.
somebody. I feel like,
Yeah.
you know, some of them, unless their mama did something wrong to them. But there's always somebody in their life where they're like, yeah, that one I'm not going to touch.
Yeah.
You know, that one I care about, even in the midst of doing something wrong. And so the fact that there's so many people that have made public health, specifically speaking to the coronavirus and COVID-19, specifically speaking to that so many people have made it a political divide is very disheartening to me. What say you?
So, what say you? I love that phrase. What say you? I says, what's see the thing that makes that I find that it's like, wow, this is crazy, is that it's so polarizing. There's very few people in that happy medium that are just like, I think for the most part I'm somewhere in that happy medium. If you don't want to wear a mask while you're out, go for you. But obviously in a store, wear it. But if you do all day while you're driving, go ahead. But it's so polarizing. Everyone has such strong opinions and such strong I don't know, ideology, I'll say,
But
when it comes to all of this.
it's weird because it's like people feel so strongly about it. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, you look online. I'm gonna play a clip. This is the first time we're doing this, so if it looks crazy to our audience, please, please, please forgive. But I'm gonna play this clip because I want to get your, like, this is what I feel so many people are like. And after I play the clip, you know, let's discuss what was kind of said. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna share my screen. Can you see it?
I was just at CVS, and a man that doesn't even work for CVS wouldn't let me in the door, and he threw me out the door. He doesn't even work for CVS. He wasn't wearing one of their shirts. What the fuck? Anderson Cooper paid this man to make me angry. They're not letting me buy things to hydrate myself. I want to buy some tea. Fuck you, America, for making me live like this. What the fuck is wrong with everyone? They said I'm not allowed to buy anything. Oh, fuck.
What in the actual hell?
Okay, but here's my next question though. Where was this energy when they were defunding education and after school programs and STEM programs and college accessibility programs and things like that? Where was all that? Where was this energy when
I
the
want to know
food
what
industry?
the energy goes towards. Like, I need to know more.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So where was this energy when, you know, the
Right,
food
you're right.
standards in America,
Right.
the food standards in America have gone down. That those families that buy all organic things for their home, it's almost like they're paying an extra $400 a month almost just to make sure that their kids have non-GMO organic, and everyone can't do that.
Right.
You know, and I hate when people say, don't tell me it doesn't, because go to your local farm stand. Not everybody has a local farm stand, FYI, but be that as it may, where was all this energy when that was happening?
I mean, I don't know. And you know what's crazy? Like, you bring up education, and so we're in the midst of where sports are doing their comeback, and I don't know if you saw, but like the Miami Marlins, 18 of their players have the coronavirus.
And that's what sport now?
Baseball.
Okay.
Baseball. The Miami Marlins, obviously in Florida, 18 players have the coronavirus. That's more than half the whole, I shouldn't say players, 18 members of players and coaches have the virus. That's more than half the players. And so now they're in the midst of like, should we shut it down? And my thing is like, oh, so you want to shut that down, but you want to start school. You're thinking about maybe we should call off all these sports and stuff, but school, yeah, no problem. The kids get it, but yeah, the kids don't, the kids are like, they people keep saying they don't really get it that much. I don't know if it's that they don't get it or that they don't show the same type of symptoms.
Right.
They can still pass
the recovery rate is quicker, and I believe they're asymptomatic.
But they can still pass it on to their, there's kids that are raised by older people, even if they're not. You've seen 40-year-olds that have died from this disease, and so I just feel like this whole thing it's like we're drawing lines. Like I feel like if you feel one way, then you are automatically, oh, you're a liberal. If you feel another way, then, oh, you're conservative. And it's like, why is that even in the conversation? Why did that even, why is that? I don't understand.
Now, to play devil's advocate, what do you say to the people that say, I'm going to give an argument on one side. Well, how come essential workers can be out at work and kids can't be in school? What's the difference?
To me, the difference is kids don't have the choice.
Oh, yeah, but some essential workers don't either, to be honest with you.
But they have a choice. They do have a choice in the sense that the choice may have devastating effects, but like for say your kids, you have little kids, say I don't want to go to school. Like I asked them, y'all ready to go back to school? They're like, no. They don't have a say in it. I mean, I was just asking for their opinion, but at the end of the day, that's up to mommy and daddy to decide.
Yeah.
They don't get to say if they even there's kids that like, you know, I'm not feeling well. Well, go to school anyway. Like they don't really have a say.
Oh my gosh,
You know what I mean?
You have no idea how many kids from their caregivers get sent to school with, just before they drop them off, they give them pain reliever, fever reducer. They're in the throes of something very sick, or like, oh, I threw up this morning and mommy said to see how I feel at school. She had to go to work. And then they're bothered when they get called from work, and then they just wait till the end of the day to pick them up anyway.
As adults, when we don't feel sick, we don't go in. As a kid, Mom, I don't really feel well. Well, it's like you'll be fine. You know what I mean? So that's the difference, in my opinion, between essential workers. Because even you hear about, really quick, you hear about in the beginning of this whole thing where there were nurses who quit the job because they were like, no, this is not going to work for me.
Yeah. I want people to understand too, though, that so an essential worker as an adult, you have certain layers of protection, right? While you have encounters, you might have, I don't know, 200 encounters in a day. That's not touching. That's not shared space. You also have the ability to get up and wipe things down, clean your hands, face covering, things like that. I just want people to understand that kids is a different beast. Some kids genuinely don't have the ability to communicate without physically being on you. And as much protections as we do, sometimes it doesn't translate in the same. You have to understand that kids by nature communicate with their whole body, literally skin touching, close talking, things like that. It's something that you learn, and even adults have a hard time communicating in a distance way. It's a very different beast when it comes to kids. Not only that, you have kids that physically cannot stop touching themselves, or there's like a processing thing where sometimes they're touching like eyes, nose, mouth, ears even, and they literally cannot help themselves. So the challenge with that is, now what do you do?
And this is why I say, like, you asked me, what's like the difference, and I'm like, it's a glaring difference. Even with these athletes, they have the option to opt out without any penalty. Usually if they opt out, they get penalized. This season, all the leagues saying there's no penalty. A kid opts out of school, there's not even like, you just can't. And so when I think about the public health, I feel like the priority is on the wrong things. We're prioritizing money and
the ability for adults to go back to work.
Yeah, but yeah,
that's really
definitely that. But who says that people are going to go back to work? My dad, he already been told by his job they ain't coming back till next year.
Oh, but he still gets to work from home though.
Right. But I know
go
ahead.
No, but like now imagine if he's like, and this is something that I see a lot on social media. This wasn't an encounter for me, but I see it a lot for other people. Working from home and school at home, they felt that it wasn't working. They couldn't manage the two at the same time.
Right. It's not for everybody. Everybody's not built for home life.
Yeah.
I saw an article, I believe it was in the New York Times. I wish I would have had it in front of me. I didn't think I was going to bring it up, but it was like 2 weeks ago, and the gentleman was talking about working from home and how stressful it is. He's like, and he lived in the city or worked in the city. And he was like, I used to be able to go to Starbucks, get my coffee, no problem. He's like, now I got to like push my kid out the way to get my coffee. I'm like, the kid's in the way. Like, really?
Listen.
And he's talking about in their second home, because they had to get out of the city to go to the suburbs, live in their second home. I'm like,
okay, that whole argument is almost like moot, because you're in your second home and you're bothered that you don't get to walk to Starbucks. You have to like walk for your kid. Like, come on now.
Right.
There's people dying here, Kim. I just see the thing with me is because I do work in education. When my kids were home, I was home, and it wasn't.
Not that you were home, but you both got home at the same time around. You mean?
No, I mean during this home work from
okay.
home school homeschooling
Right.
scenario, it wasn't much of a challenge for us because of my scenario. But I do understand that I'm just built differently, and my surroundings are built differently, where I was able to
I
be
would
there
say
with them.
circumstances, because you're not built differently.
My circumstances, yeah, that's what I meant. I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you for saying that. My circumstances are built differently because we're different.
You're like, I'm putting built in there somehow.
I know, my brain is like building something. So it wasn't a challenge for us, but I saw how it could be a challenge for other people.
Right.
You know, kids need help. They need help. The reason that they're in school is because they're learning. And think about that as an adult. When you have a challenge, you know, and it's something new to you, you need to communicate. Sometimes even just talking out loud. So, you know, while you're trying to work and they're trying to do school, it's a big beast. And, you know, everyone did their best. I would say the adults did their worst, because they weren't as adaptable as some of these kids and some of these other people that are out there trying to do their best.
At the end of the day, we go as our country and our leaders dictate us to go. You know, and that has been from beginning. Your kids go as you go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We as adults, we elect leaders to go the way that we think it should go, and we expect to get some direction. Like, okay, like we can't all be researching what's going on in Europe and China and Canada. And so we expect our leaders to be advocates for us and to show us. And so on that note, I want to also put up this other clip of because I'm clipping it today, homie.
I love it.
I'm clipping it. So I like I said, it's the politicalization of public health. And so I think it's important to point out how we do have leaders who, you know, even when they contract the COVID, you think, okay, oh, well, now he understands or she understands.
I got to see this. Not
so much. So I'm going to play this clip from Representative Louie Gohmert. I think that's Gohmert. So I don't know how to say his last name, but he contracted the coronavirus after just like being everywhere, people telling him wear a mask. He's like, I ain't wearing a mask. And then he'd wear a mask, but his nose sticking out. So he contracts it, and then he does an interview. And I want to show you what he said. Let me pull this up.
There are an awful lot of people that think it's the great thing to do all the time, but I can't help but think that if I hadn't been wearing a mask so much in the last 10 days or so, I really wonder if I would have gotten it. But I know, you know, moving the mask around, getting it just right, I'm bound to put some virus on the mask that I sucked in. That's most likely what happened.
So, yeah.
Like, you ever just want to
That's
fight
one of our
somebody?
leaders making decision policy. He's voting on policy. The mask may have given him COVID. The mask.
Adjusting his mask gave him the virus.
What are your thoughts on that? Not that, I mean, you have to necessarily speak on him, but on.
So here's the thing. Is it fair to say that what he's saying could be true? Yes, because he could have touched something that had a live virus on it as he touched his face. And so is it fair to say what he's saying is true? Yeah. But is it fair to also say that it is my personal opinion that he sounds like a lunatic? Also, yeah.
Both can be personal opinions.
Okay. You know, I aspire this is my genuine aspiration. I aspire to be an eloquent speaker, motivating, touching on points, following, ideas, instead of going like in all these different tangents. This is my aspiration. I want to eloquently express myself. And then when you see people like that and you're like, I'm a little more closer to that than not.
Right. But my thing is he's an elected official. He's been elected 8 times. That's another thing on both sides. Like, there needs to be term limits, but that's a thing for another day.
So all I'm hearing is that I have an opportunity to be an elected official, even speaking in tangents the way I do.
Kanye is about to get votes. You could be president.
All I hear is opportunity, is what I'm saying.
It's knocking.
It's knocking.
So I want to bring up one other politician. So this speaks to what I was saying with like elected officials not really, they're not helping. I shouldn't say all of them. There are some that have been, quite helpful. But there are also some elected officials who are not helping, like just wear a mask. Why is there such animosity towards wearing a mask? It's not like we're asking people to
But you're taking away my freedom.
And these same people will get mad if somebody goes in a store without a shirt. You know what I'm saying?
You're taking away my freedom by asking me to do that.
So I have this Congresswoman Candice Keller from Ohio. She was protesting, not protesting. She was speaking out against having to wear a mask at Gettysburg.
Okay. Oh, I can't wait to see this. Let's go. I'm ready. I'm
she,
loving these clips today.
I only took a few seconds of it. It's pretty long, but
yeah.
This is her explanation as to why she feels that the masks are wrong. Here we go.
We are losing our rights in this country. And until you stand up to those that would diminish your freedoms and your liberty, it's going to continue to happen. I encourage you to continue to speak out, to push against the madness. We will not wear face masks when we are not sick. I will not wear anything, do anything, say anything, eat anything, go anywhere, be anywhere that the government forbids me to go because they have no right.
Can I just start out with my opinion? I'm ready to fight people. So she's wearing the American flag, which is actually against articles of
we did a whole show on this last year. I think last year or the year before.
So she's wearing an American flag, and I don't know if the video is turned or not, but it's also backwards. So she's erroneously wearing an American flag. So that's number one. So she clearly doesn't care about our government, because she's also saying that she's going to go against our government because they don't have the rights to do that. Okay. So where's she gonna go then? So is she gonna defect to another country?
I don't know, man. I don't. These people are making they're voting, homie. And I don't know.
Listen, like I said before, if you choose not to wear a mask, that's fine. But while you're inside an establishment or in one of these parks, I do think, listen, let's just get this done with. Let's get it out. Just wear it and keep going, and then take it off when you leave. I don't see an issue. But then now, what about, like you said, you brought up this point before. So are nudists going to start suing our government? Because
nudists.
Well, no. I'm connecting the dots. Are nudists going to start suing our government because they have to wear clothes?
Probably.
So no shirt, no shoes, no service. So I
Yeah,
love
this
being
is not even
barefoot.
it's just not a lifetime thing. It's like, just bear with us while we get a hold of this thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. This thing
know?
is so erratic. You can't pinpoint certain things because it affects everyone so differently.
What are your thoughts on, I'm going to play one last clip in a minute, but I wanted to talk about our thoughts. So there's a lot of debate about churches and protesters not socially distancing themselves when they're participating in services or rallies and things of that nature. Whereas, we tell people that they should in restaurants and bars and malls and things like that. What is your thoughts on that?
Again, I'm somewhere in the middle. It's kind of twofold. So if you're protesting, and well, the church that I go to, you have to social distance unless you're in the same household. You have to. So I haven't personally encountered that, but if it's your personal choice to not social distance, then that's your personal choice. I don't feel like I have the right to take that away or to enforce that on anyone. An establishment, though, if that's what they require, then I'm all about it. It is my personal choice to adhere to that. But you can't be what's the word? You can't be schizophrenic almost in saying like the government mandates for these businesses to stay open that they have to adhere to social distancing, but then you can't, on the other hand, say ordinances where you can't have more than 20 people in your home for a function, but you can have a protest of 100 people. Listen, you can peacefully protest or not peacefully protest all you want. That's your right to do that. If you're not going to social distance and you don't want to, I think it's your right as well.
Unless they make it a law, and that law is enforced across the board.
Correct. And then that's kind of the point that I'm trying to get at. If you can't be schizophrenic, you can't say on one end no, and then make it okay on another end. It's that's not going to work.
It's weird because I see like I'm all for protesting and protesters, especially you see what came out of Portland a little bit last week. But at the same time, it's like when you hear some of the protesters, you're like, we're fighting for our life. Our rights are our life. The rights of Black and brown people, if not now, when? And so you can't really be like, it's like, damn, you can't hate, but it's like, just please wear a mask. We're going to be out there. And for the most part, that's what you see. You see people with masks, especially when it was in places where it was kind of like the norm, like New York. When you see them in New York City, it's like majority of them are wearing masks. But then there's other places and you're like, I don't understand. Like, just put a mask on. It's, you can cut it by so much. And the funny thing is that during those first few weeks, was like 6 weeks of consistent protests. I mean, they're still protesting now, but when it was like every single city, farm town, like everyone was protesting, you didn't hear about any new cases coming out of that. The new cases seem to be coming out of pool parties. You know what I mean? Like just.
You have to remember, there's a lot of fluid transfer when all that happens. That whether you have a saltwater pool or a chlorine pool, you have that whole, like, remember when you were little and you like wipe your nose like that and just.
But that's what I'm saying. But it's like I don't know.
That's the whole thing. It's such a crazy. This is a very crazy time.
And then we have people like coming at Fauci, who is the #1 scientist for infectious diseases in our country. And, he just testified on the Hill and he went back and forth with Representative Jordan. And I have a clip of that. I got the clips today. You don't even know.
I love it.
But so they went back and forth about specifically this, the protesting and the groups and things like that. So I just want to play just a snippet of right before it ended.
I just want an answer to the question: do the protests increase the spread of the virus?
I don't have any scientific evidence that anything. I can tell you that crowds are known, particularly when you don't have a mask, to increase the acquisition and transmission. No matter
So
what.
you don't have a position on whether the protests increase the spread of the virus or don't increase the spread of the virus.
I'm saying that crowds, wherever the crowds are, can give you an increased probability that there's going to be acquisition and transmission.
But do you understand Americans' concern? Protesting, particularly according to the Democrats, is just fine, but you can't go to work, you can't go to school, you can't go to church. There's limits placed on all three of those fundamental activities, First Amendment activities, but protesting is just fine.
You know,
He had enough. And so this goes back to what I first started with, the politicalization of public health. Why is he in the hot seat?
He doesn't create legislation though.
Right. And I was watching The View the other day, and Megan was talking about, she's basically on the side of many people who are like, Fauci can't be trusted because in the beginning, remember how a lot of doctors were like, you don't really need a mask? Which pissed me off too, because I'm like, damn.
Can I interject 1 second? So I was talking to Lieutenant Colonel Awesome about this, because he does have a biochemical engineering degree. I forget what he has. He's got some shit. He's got a few things. And I was like, so tell me, what's your position on the mask? Like, because the microns of the virus, as people are calling it, the microns are a lot smaller than like what an N95. And what he was saying was, you're not stopping the transfer of particles when it comes to like virus particles. What you're stopping is the transfer of saliva, which is attaching to these particles. So while you're talking and sneezing and breathing and doing all that, that's what you're stopping. So even if you have a very thin layer, you're still going to stop a transfer of something. So if you don't want to wear a mask, lick the floor. If you want to wear a mask, then you're most likely not to be as sick.
And people are spitters. I spit. I like, sometimes I'm like talking and it's like, I don't, you just.
How many times in our life have we spoken to someone and they spit and it lands right on your lip? Isn't that like
It's happened. And we've had conversations, just me and you, and it's like, oh, sorry. It's like, and you told me plenty of times, swallow, because I'm like so hyped up. I'm like, and so I understand, back to what I was saying with Megan, is like, I understand what she's saying in the terms of, like, he said one thing in the beginning. And I do believe that a lot of what was said was in order to save those masks for our healthcare workers. Fine. They're never going to admit that. But at the same time, okay, medicine is fluid. We didn't know as much as we know about the virus. We didn't know as much in March and February as we do today in August. August. You know what I mean? So it's annoying.
So did you know one of the earlier ways to test if you had diabetes, which they didn't call it that, I think they called it like sugar, something like that, to taste your pee.
Really?
Right? Yeah. So if we're not giving allowances to evolve when it comes to learning more about medicine and how things transfer and how it affects the body, if we don't allow for that, we're going to still be in an office having somebody dip their finger in our pee and taste it. You got to let people evolve.
And one of the things he's been saying now people are mad at this, is that he's like, it wouldn't hurt to have goggles on or glasses during the day. And people are, oh, now you're changing things. It's like, no, people are realizing that it's more contagious than they initially thought. And I mean, am I going to run out and get goggles? No. But I understand where he's coming from. Do you know what I'm saying?
You have to give allowances for people to evolve on what they say.
Right.
Once you know more about something, you can't, you know, thumb someone down once they say something and then they learn more.
And we're not politicians, which is, I mean, this is common sense to me, in my opinion. You know, it's just like, you just.
But that's not very common these days.
Which I'm realizing. It's like being an adult right now sucks, because you're realizing, you're not only are you realizing stuff about people and how they really feel, you're realizing it about the people closest to you. And it's like,
that's almost the most heartbreaking part, is that when you realize how I don't want to say negative, but how much somebody wants to call you stupid and a sheep. We got to think of another animal, because I love sheep.
You keep bringing it up.
I know, like,
just say
I'm weak-willed because I'm okay with wearing a mask.
It's crazy, because I have, it's one of those things where, you know, when you're a kid and you see your parent one way, and then there's something that happens in your life and you're like, now you're an adult.
Yeah.
You grew up. That never ends. It's just different people. Like, having this podcast with you, the person that I knew you to be, as we have the podcast, I'm realizing not only was my view of you what, like, I had this one view of you, but it's so much more than that. You know what I mean?
No, you need to explain yourself. No,
it's like you have ideas that are not actually aligned with mine. Like, I can't sit in this bubble like, yeah, we think alike, we talk alike. You know what I'm saying? You have your own opinions and your own ideas. You have your own life experiences that shape those ideas and those values and those opinions. You know what I mean? And that's important. And that's also growth. And it's like, that's one of the things about being an adult. And when I go back to even with Fauci, it's like, yeah, when it comes to science, it's constantly evolving, and so are people. And so when I speak about you, it's like the Marissa that I met in 98 is not the same Marissa that I know in 2020.
It can't be.
Right.
It can't be. And if it is, then I got a problem.
And there's certain
things that
come out stronger. You know, it's like when somebody wins the lotto, it's like, I was like, I'm the same person. It's like, no, money enhances things about you.
Certain things, yeah.
It's like, wow, I didn't realize you were like that. And then you start to think about it, you're like,
well, but they were, though.
Yeah, we did have conversations. You know what I'm saying? So it's important for people to look at this whole thing with the coronavirus and COVID and everything, and really take cues from the scientists and not politicians, because
politicians,
if the Pope can be fallible,
everybody is, though.
Right.
Everybody is, exactly. I think about, though, I will say, when it comes to politics, I have never felt more confused and more dumb in my whole life than I have right now. I always felt like there's a lot of things on either side that, like, kind of you agree with and don't agree with, right?
Right.
But this election cycle, I'm more like, so do I go for this lunatic or that lunatic? And which one? And now, am I a lunatic?
Yes. There's no decision. But that's a whole nother topic. If you have to sit here, this is what I'm talking about. This is not the same Marissa that I knew from 98 to 2020. Because if you have to decide between a racist and the other guy, let's just switch the subject. Let's switch to, yep, that's trending. Or do you want to finish what you have to say?
No, because you're not listening.
I'm listening. I'm just saying, like,
it's not just about, like, but that's the thing. So I can't align with there, because listen, you're not going to agree with everyone on everything, right? So there's certain things that you what's the wording I'm looking for? There's certain things when it comes to elections, there's certain things that you're, okay, so there's ideology that they're talking about that you align with and you really want to see growth in this area. So when it comes to this election cycle, when I say, do I want to go for this lunatic or that lunatic, it's bigger than just race relations in America. I think race relations in America.
Your opinion. Definitely.
What?
Right. In your opinion is, right? Go ahead.
What do you mean?
In your opinion.
Race relations in
Right.
America?
Right.
Oh yeah. It's my opinion. Race relations in America are on the cusp of another revolution, because we have defined, and we're continuing to define how we're going to categorize ourselves, and that spectrum, I think, has evolved. We're no longer allowing certain things to be pigeonholed. We want to expand on certain definitions, and it's not always at the forefront of policy. And I'm glad that right now it kind of is. I just think that the people that are deciding what this policy should be and how it's defined are not the right people. And I believe that's on both sides. They're not the right people to define what that policy is. And I think that we need to have, and it's not an age thing. I think we need to have people that have expanded on what they look at, because the way I see it is that it's a white guy married to a white woman, or multiple white women with white children and white friends, who not racist because they have black friends. And that's how I feel like it's explained to the general public in America. And I need more diversity on every hill in order to expand definitions when it comes to race relations and where we evolve in America.
I think with me, even though we didn't really intend to get into this, I just have to state my point. When I'm looking at, like, obviously it comes down to different things when it's like local government. When I'm thinking about presidential, if you're against me, I'm not for you. Like, I'm a disabled American. You make fun of disabled people. I'm a black woman. You make fun of black people. I have pre-existing conditions. You want to get rid of Affordable Care Act. That alone. And then now we're going to go into my allies, the people that I want to be allies for, the Hispanic community. I got family, even if I didn't have family members who were Hispanic, Latinx. I learned what the X meant yesterday. Thank you. Even if I didn't have Latinx members of my community, I got to be an ally for them. I'm not gay, but I need to be allies for gay people. And so if you're against all of that, how can I be for you? And I'm not even saying that the other guy is even that great, but I know the other guy is going to put people in powerful positions that look like you and that look like me.
Right.
The other guy is not. The other guy is going to put one person that separated children at birth, conjoined twins, as head of HUD. What the hell does that have to do? Like, anyway. So like I said,
this is exactly what I'm talking about. You gave a perfect example. We're putting people, we're putting people in positions that don't necessarily have the tools to define the trajectory I'm hoping that America can go in. And when I say, do I vote for this lunatic?
But that's not what I said. I said I would prefer, even if the other guy, I may not agree with everything, I know that he's going to put people in powerful positions that look like me and you, whereas the other guy is not. And I know that other guy is not going to make statements about my race and my people, not going to make statements about disabled people, not going to make statements about Hispanic and Latinx people. Latinx is like on my mind all of a sudden. And so those, to me, those are important things to me. Obviously, it comes down to even more stuff, but on the bubbling surface, I got to hear that shit every day in a press conference.
No, I was talking about piggybacking on your comment with our head of HUD, how
okay.
The surgeon, and he's the head of HUD.
Why is
that's
he
what I'm saying. That is exactly what?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't understand that.
And this is what I'm saying. I feel like on both sides we're putting a brilliant surgeon as the head of HUD.
But it's not both sides. You keep saying both sides. What is on the other side? You keep saying both sides, and I'm like, it's not both sides. The other side.
I feel like it's like I said, it's my opinion. I just feel like the representation on both sides is not exactly the trajectory I'm hoping for America to go in.
Right. No, I agree. I agree with you, and we have a lot of growth, but I can't do the whole both sides thing when I know, like I know, like, if this guy, I don't know, I can't, it's very painful to hear somebody, like, berate people that look like me, people that have abilities like me. It's not the same. It's not the same. It's not a both sides situation. Yeah, you can say both sides may have political agendas that are different and may not align with everything that you want them to align with. But when it comes down to the basic humanity that I require of a person, there is no both sides. I don't know. And Herman King, God bless the dead, with his corona ass. You know, I mean, damn, bro. But that's not who I was talking about. It was what's his name? What's the hood guy?
God, I can't remember his name. I have to Google it because now I'm.
Yeah, but like, you would even think that he'd be standing next to the president when the president made those comments about the suburbs, and not bringing basically the quote unquote hood to your suburbs.
Dr. Ben Carson.
Yeah, like, he's talking about public housing, but the head of HUD isn't there because it's a fake title. It's not real. It's like, whatever.
But he's still getting this is exactly what I'm talking about. It's like the representation doesn't follow the trajectory of what I'm hoping that we go in.
Well, what's the representation that, just so we can clear this up, because I know you've said both sides on both numerous times. What's the representation that you are not feeling? Just one thing. You don't have to go into detail on the other side to make it seem like it's both sides.
Here's the thing, though. I try my best here to not give my political opinion. So when I'm saying both sides,
yeah.
No, but when I'm saying both sides, I'm trying to just make a blanket statement. I don't want to give my political opinions because I want to be able to.
Yeah, we'll move on because I don't want it to be. I don't want to put you in that awkward position because I know that's also how you feel, and I don't want to make you feel like, you know, you have to get into this political discussion because that's not really what this was about. Mm-hmm. I really don't want to put you in that position. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But speaking of politics, let's go on to that's trend. That's trending.
Yep.
Epstein's Web of Lives. So we all know that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. You saw the documentary, or did you only see parts of it?
I only saw parts of it. I couldn't finish. It's a very hard thing.
It's definitely.
Were you able to finish it?
Yeah, I watched all of it, and I don't know if it's like one of those things where I've been through sexual abuse where it's like, it's, you know how like you can be a glutton for punishment. You're just like,
yeah.
Or and can also feel like like in a lot of ways I've had this conversation with other friends where what happened to me feels like only happened to me in life. Even though I know other people have experienced similar things, it feels like my own thing. I can't, like, I've heard other people's stories and I can't relate. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's interesting.
It just feels, it's like my own.
Even with empathy, or you're just like.
I'm empathetic towards other people.
But the relating.
Their stories to me, they don't touch home for the most part. I mean, they might like little things here and there, but I've never heard a story that felt like it paralleled mine. I'm sure there are thousands of stories out there. And so when I see this documentary, or when I watch the R. Kelly documentary, or you hear about Harvey Weinstein, they were young people, or, you know, what have you. But I was like, this shit happened to me at 5. Like, I can't relate. And it's such a different, I was in traffic. And so when I'm watching the Epstein thing, and I'm like, this mofo, wow, money can really get you a lot of things. I mean, he's got the Prince Andrew, like, going to his island. I mean, Naomi Campbell, Bill Clinton.
Allegedly.
There's pictures. There's no alleged. There's pictures in this flight record.
Now, has this changed your opinion, view, respect, maybe, for the people that you've seen on these logs?
In a way, it has, because, you know, my thing is, like, no matter how much a young girl can dress up and try to be grown, you look at, like, why is she trying to be grown? A 14-year-old is still a 14-year-old. Even if she's trying to, you look at her like, you think, okay, even if she's trying to pass for 18, she's still 18 and this guy's 70.
That's very disgusting.
You know what I'm saying? So all these people at his island, his private island in the Bahamas, and was it the Bahamas? No, Virgin Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands. All these people there, multiple trips. It's just very disheartening. And I'm like, in the documentary, the main woman, Victoria Giuffre, she's like one of the ones that came out, and I can't remember his lawyer, he was also OJ's lawyer. You know what I'm talking about? Can you look it up? Just kind of look it up. Just put Epstein lawyer. Can't remember his name, but Alan Dershowitz, that's what it is. Alan Dershowitz. Alan Dershowitz said, yeah, he flew to the island, but he brought his wife and his daughter, and you know, the girl was like, no, he was there, and Bill Clinton was there. Bill Clinton had like 4 villas, and they were like, well, was Bill Clinton with any girls? She's like, no, he wasn't around any girls or anything. It was like, she said he was just like relaxing. It felt like business for him. I was like, okay, well, I mean, but the fact that he was there, like, you
feel like guilt by association? That's
what I feel. Because that goes to what I was saying about, even if it was 14, like, the girls look like they were 18. It's like, you don't think to yourself, like, I'm on this island and all these little girls are here. Where are their parents? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That shit is like, there's like no, I'm looking at Naomi Campbell. I'm like, you obviously know he's not an agent. He's not a model agent. So why are all these little girls here? And if anybody can tell the difference between a little girl and a woman, she's going to be able to tell. She's been a model dressing up her whole life. But it's just the whole thing. And then the Ghislaine, I think her name is Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah.
Like, you think she's going to, like, what do you think about her? You think she's going to get out, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Yep. I think the
arrogance of her not to leave the country.
But do you not understand that some people genuinely feel like I'm untouchable? That untouchable sort of thing.
Kelly.
And then on top of that, she knows that, as they say, you know, like Epstein committed suicide supposedly. That's not going to happen to her because there's too much, like, at stake, so to speak. And the thing is, I feel like you're not embroiled in all that without having a bunch of favors, and she's got enough favors that she can pull.
But
she get out.
But Jeffrey could have got out. I think he probably was going to get out eventually. The only thing I can say is that New York don't play. That's the one thing about New York. New York is about, like, you going to jail. Like, there's just New York. We've seen people that just, like, go to jail for bullshit in New York.
But they look a certain way. She has the archetype of the person that will walk away. Not only will she walk away.
She didn't even get bail. She offered $500 million. Can you
Can
imagine?
you imagine having $500 million
Just
to
for
offer?
bail. And you knew she was going to leave the country. 500 million cash. And they were like, no.
I wonder.
No.
I wonder. So, what is gonna come out from all of this? Like, who is she gonna like? Either like, oh, you didn't pick up my phone call. Listen, go to page 34, section 2. This is them.
It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be. You know that
And
good
who's gonna
popcorn
ta-
you
and
have
who-
at your house?
What?
That good ass popcorn you have at your house?
Yeah.
I
This
mean,
is
we
gonna
shouldn't be laughing about it, but I'm saying.
This is
like,
gonna be much CTV, and I want to know who's gonna take the credit for all of it.
what do you mean?
Because you know how there's always like people in political positions that take credit for shit they had nothing to do with.
Cuomo. He's the governor. He's the governor of New York, and she's in a New York jail. Who do you think is going to take credit for it? And then he's going to run for president in 4 years.
And that's going to be his platform. Wow. You heard it here first, folks.
You just got to get him. You got to get what you call to marry him, even though they broke up.
Who?
And what's her name? Sarah.
The
Lee?
cook lady?
No,
Sarah Lee?
Sarah Lee's the cake. What's the?
No, the cook. Sandra Lee. It's Sandra Lee.
Sandra Lee. I know
cook-
it's a Lee. Yeah.
You think?
They
thought they were
still
done for.
still have a relationship. Like they're still like best friends.
Wow.
You're gonna find him. What is the phrase? You'll find you a good wife. Happy wife, happy life.
I hope he marries a Puerto Rican.
He ain't marrying no Puerto Rican.
And Puerto Rican first lady.
No.
And I hope she bridges the gap for all my Hispanic people.
From
So they
Park
finally.
Eastchester in the Bronx.
Wherever he finds her, I hope he finds her, and I hope she bridges the gap for all my Spanish people so they can love themselves.
He's not gonna marry a Puerto Rican. He already has a type.
Listen, Puerto Ricans can look that way too.
But they don't act. I don't care how blonde their hair is. They still Puerto Rican down in the blood.
Which is what he needs. He needs spice.
Whatever.
He needs somebody who's gonna yell at him but still make him a plate of dinner. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
This is going to a place you don't want us to talk about, so let's just move on.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start something new that I just thought of this minute.
Oh Lord.
Every week we're both going to recommend something to listen to. Okay? Music. So I'm going to reach back here. I have no idea what I'm touching. Tell me which way to go.
I want you to go up. Over one.
This way or this way?
Yeah, the other way. Wait, right there. Right. Go back more. One more. One more. One more. One more. That one. That one.
Oh shoot! You won't believe what you picked. I have no idea what's over here. So I want everybody to put. Their well, most people don't have CDs anymore, but go stream on Tidal or Apple Music, whatever place you have, wherever you get your podcast. Also stream this CD. My favorite artist of all time.
Love and Life.
Love and Life.
Miss Mary J. Blige.
And it's a single. It's a single. You don't even have to do the whole thing. The EPK. Be prepared next week, homie. Be prepared. I mean, saying pick. You don't have to do like me, or I can just pick a CD every week. You tell me where to go. I like that. Yeah. Anyway, good show.
Speaking of Miss Mary J. Blige, The Umbrella Academy came out on Netflix. Season 2.
Season. I haven't seen the first season.
Oh,
check it out though.
She's not in the second season.
Are we gonna do this thing? I asked you to do it last year. You didn't do it. I'm asking you to do it this year because we're in the midst of quarantining somewhat. Big Brother comes back for their 20th season starting Wednesday.
Okay.
Can you watch?
I can watch.
Starts Wednesday at 9 p.m.
Okay. I'll put it on the DVR.
Your kids asleep. It's good. But on DVR, you got until Saturday, and it's All-Star, so it's all the best players from the last 20 seasons.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, where can I catch us?
Yep, yeah, yes, 18 on Instagram and Twitter. The Yep, yeah, yes podcast on Facebook. YouTube, the Yep, yeah, yes show. And then we have the Yep, yeah, yes clips on YouTube.
And the full show, you said that.
Yeah. And then anywhere you stream, any streaming device you have that allows for podcasts, all you have to do is device, please play the Yep, yeah, yes podcast.
Holler. Good talking.
Holler. Good talk.
See you next week. Love you. Bye now.
Bye now. Oh.
What?
Rabbit.
It's 8:00. I mean, it's August. Why did I say 8:00? Because the 8th is no, it's not the 8th month. Oh yeah, it is the 8th month, right?
It is the 8th month. Yeah. Go get a drink. There you go.
All right, y'all. Bye now.